So you've caught some fish. You know it's a good pull. Now it's time to narrow down your efforts to the spot within the spot. Here come a couple examples.
Right now we're fishing in February, and we're fishing the main part of a wintering hole, the deeper area. What we do though in the mornings and the evenings, we'll actually move to the top of the hole or to the taper ups at the bottom of the hole, because fish will move to those positions to feed.
This spot right behind me is one of the places in this pool that I've probably pulled more 20 plus inch smallmouth out of than anywhere I've fished over the years. And the reason why I think that's such a hot spot, right around there, you have this notch right there, and that deposits a bunch of gravel right out into a fairly deep area. I know they winter out in this deeper water. Here I'm at 6 feet. I know there was some spots I was checking with the depth finder that were 8-9 feet out here. But right up there is real shallow, and that's the kind of place when the sun does come out that they're gonna pull up into that and look for something to eat, because that water will warm up real nice. So shallow areas right next to deeper water in winter during these warming trends, or just on a sunny day, even if it wasn't warming that much. If the sun is coming out, find your deep pools, but find your shallow spots within those deep pools. All right, when you're fishing an eddy this big, you want to really sit there and analyze and watch current. The first thing I noticed on this one is there's a reverse current going along that bank, and then it hits that tree and it kicks out in this direction, which leaves all along that bank a whole lot of really still water. That still water continues all the way up to the top of the eddy, and that's where Chris caught his fish. Your more aggressive fish are going to be up at the top. One that a lot of people miss is what I call the donut hole. You'll have basically a big circle running. We're in the current, we're anchored here, and it'll go down and it'll make a big circle. And the donut hole is right out here in the middle. And a lot of people miss that and cast right to the shore. Got one, man?
Well, we pulled up in this spot. We talked a lot about how good this area looked. Started throwing cold water delight, which is basically kind of a paddle tail, and basically dragging it right through the middle of the slot. So we were trying to figure out, are they close to the current, are they in the middle, or are they along the bank?
We got our gravel hump here from that notch that we were talking about, but even moving up this bank, I've done real well moving up this bank. I think it's a good one because the sun hits it late in the day all winter long, and in a winter pool there'll always be one bank that seems like it's dominant. Hold on to him. 18 and a quarter. Good job, bud.
Thanks, Johnny.
We've caught both of our fish from the most downstream part of this foam trail. We're way downstream from what causes it. If you look upstream, way up there, we got a rock that creates this real long lane. It's only a long lane of foam in real low conditions like we got right now. Our water temperature is 39.2, and both fish hit little tubes at the most downstream portion of this foam trail, where it pinches off in a V. Sawyer's got a jerkbait down in there right now.
Hey, buddy.
Got him. All right. Oh, he's jumping. Get on him, Jeff. Nice. He hit the finesse jig and craw Let's see how nice he is. Oh, that's a good one. Oh, hello. I'm happy to see you. All right, 20 inches, right on 20 inches, right on 4 pounds. Nice early March smallmouth on the finesse jig and crawl. See you, buddy. He was up in this eddy, right up in here. We were blowing through here pretty quick, and we were out a good ways, and I saw this slick along the bank here, and we actually got to go back up in there and get Joe's snag. But this calm area, you can see all these bugs coming off the surface, and in most areas the bugs are just kind of scooting along the surface. This is one area where those stone flies, just like foam bubbles, you watch foam bubbles and stone flies in the spring, you watch leaves in the fall. You find that area where, you know, anything on the surface stays there a good long time. That tells you where there's less current and where the fish are.
Oh, he's good. Turning me around. Woo. Big boy. Come on, big boy. Woo. He's probably 18 plus. Yeah. Woo. I was dragging some baits down off actually a ledge. I felt the shallowness of a ledge, and then I felt a free fall, and I turned to Jeff and actually said, Jeff, I just felt it drop off. I caught one right before this one too, doing the same thing. Jeff says, oh, I got a hit, and he missed his, and then boom, this one hit like 2 seconds after Jeff had his hit. So we've got a real nice spot out there. We've got a ledge that drops off into about 10 foot of water, and we're gonna go out there and see if we can't get some more. Nice fish, probably 19 plus.
Now Juan just did this by hand, just by feeling the jig come down, but you can see it went from 6 to 10 pretty quickly, and it's jumping back up and then back down. These are just ledge trenches, you know, and we just drifted. That might actually be a fish sitting over above the bottom right there. And we're back to 10, but it went from 6, you know, 6.5 to 10, you know, with a series of ledge trenches, and it was right up in here, and you might be able to detect, you know, the boil on the surface if you look real close, but he just did it with his jig. You know, all he did was get his, you know, jig down there, and he felt the angle of the line, and he felt it kind of dragging across the top, and he felt it free fall, and he knew, you know, hey, somewhere out there there's a drop off, and right at that drop off is where he picked up that. It ended up being a 19.5 incher. All right, he was back on that same ledge that Juan got his on. Just like you said, Juan, it was a nice drop off. There are two things on this bank that are very subtle signs that tell you it's a good winter spot. The first is this tiny little creek coming in. That little notch is gonna provide a high water refuge for fish. There's current blowing by out here, but in higher water, they can tuck up in there and be out of the current. The second little sign that we've got is down here, and it's evidence of an eddy in higher water. Even though we're in current that moves really fast past this spot, right in there's a bunch of debris, a bunch of trash, bunch of branches and leaves and stuff, and a little bit of slack current, not a lot. But they don't need a whole lot. They just need enough spot for them to sit. And this is right where that 19 incher came from. So here's a nice little visual, you know, clue to good winter spots, or the spot within the spot, where exactly they like to be when the river's up, where things collect, and where they can hop up out of the way of the of a high water event in that little creek notch.